Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Jaya Radha Madhava Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, पावन हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की, श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन की, श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की, श्री श्री गौर निताय की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, समावेत भक्त वृंद की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णसुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमार। Welcome all of you for the Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning. We are reciting from the 4th canto, 9th chapter, text number 4. Satam vivakshantamatatvidam harer ज्ञात्वास्य सर्वस्य च हृद्यवस्थितः कृताञ्जलिं ब्रह्ममयेन कम्बुना पस्पर्शबालं कृपया कपोले। सतं विवक्षन्तमतद्विदं हरेर् ज्ञात्वास्य सर्वस्य च हृद्यवस्थितः कृताञ्जलिं स्पर्शबालं कृपया कपोले। Satam vivakshantamatadvidam harer Jnatvasya sarvasya cha hridyavastitaha Kritanjalim brahmamayena kambuna Pasparshabalam kripaya kapole Satam vivakshantamatadvidam harer Jnatvasya sarvasya cha hridyavasti Satam vivakshantamatadvidam harer Jnatvasya sarvasya cha hridyavastitaha Kritanjalim brahmamayena kambuna Sarshabalam kripaya Satam vivakshantamatadvidam harer Jnatvasya sarvasya cha hridyavastitaha Kritanjalim brahmamayena kambuna Parshabalam kripaya kapole Matajis Saha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Tam Dhruva Maharaj, Vivakshantam, wanting to offer prayers, describing his qualities, Atat Vedam, not experienced at that, Harihi, the personality of Godhead, Jnatva, having understood, Asya, of Dhruva Maharaj, Sarvasya, of everyone, Cha, and Hridi, in the heart, Avastitaha, being situated, Krita Anjalim, situated with folded hands, Brahmamayena, just consistent, the words of the Vedic hymns, Kambuna, with his conch shell, Pasparsha, touched, Balam, the boy, Kripaya, out of his costless mercy, Kapole, on the forehead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Although Dhruva Maharaj was a small boy, he wanted to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a suitable language. But because he was inexperienced, he could not adjust himself immediately. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, could understand Dhruva Maharaj's awkward position. Out of his costless mercy, he touched his conch shell to the forehead of Dhruva Maharaj, who stood before him with folded hands. Purport: every devotee wants to chant, and they are always eager to glorify these qualities. But sometimes they feel inconvenienced by humbleness. The personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, specifically gives a devotee intelligence to describe him. Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki. It is therefore understood that when a devotee writes or speaks about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his words are dictated by the Lord from within. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter. To those who constantly engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord from within dictates what to do next in order to serve Him. When Dhruva Maharaj felt hesitant, not knowing how to describe the Lord for want of sufficient experience, the Lord, out of His costless mercy, touched his conch shell to Dhruva's forehead, and he was transcendently inspired. This transcendental inspiration is called Brahmamaya, because when one is thus inspired, the sound he produces exactly corresponds to the sound vibration of the Vedas. This is not the ordinary sound vibration of the material world. Therefore, the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna mantra, although presented in the ordinary alphabet, should not be taken as mundane or material. In this world, we may be very great orators, like TED talkers, but when it comes to the spiritual subject matter, it is not possible even for the most talented speakers on the mundane plane to be able to speak something spiritually meaningful without the blessings and empowerment of great souls. Therefore, I will beg for the blessing of His Grace Anandamaya Prabhu and all of you devotees, so that this subject, what we are discussing today, will touch our heart and enliven us spiritually. You see, this small boy, Dhruva, is standing in the forest on one leg and doing meditation, and Lord Vishnu is appearing in front of him. He has a great desire to glorify the Lord, but is unable to glorify due to his young age, due to his lack of training in Sanskrit poetry, to coin words as per Ras, Chand, Alankar, to sing a meaningful and sweet poetry in glorification of the Lord is not a joke. So, here you find in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are also other places where you hear a similar situation, like Prahalad Maharaj in front of Lord Narasimha was unable to bring out glorification immediately, instantly. As soon as he saw the darshan of the Lord, he was like overwhelmed, stunned. Similarly, the Dasiputra, who became Narada in the next life, he also saw Lord Vishnu suddenly appearing in front of him, and he was like stunned by that darshan, stunned in ecstasy, with all the ecstatic symptoms. So I gave the heading for today as Lotus Voices from the Lovely Hearts. So what is this Lotus Voices? Lotus Voice means Padma Vakya, Guru Mukha, Padma Vakya, Chittete Korya Aikya, it is said. And whose heart is a lovely heart? The heart of a pure devotee is a lovely heart. Or the heart of the Lord is a lovely heart. So when Lord speaks, or His pure devotees speak, what emanates from their mouth can be called as Padma Vakya, Lotus Voices. Why it is called Lotus Voices? Because Lord carries 4 things with Him, Shankh, Chakra, and Gada and Padma. So 2 are for the demons and 2 are for the devotees. Which 2 are for the demons? The mace and the wheel, Chakra. And the other 2 are for the devotees, the conch shell and the lotus. Both are very auspicious. Now, if you take the lotus, Lord stands on a lotus, always. The spiritual world is shaped like a lotus. Also, the Lord's eyes are called as Kamala Nayanam, like a lotus petals. Nama Pankajanabhaya, Nama Pankajamaline, Nama Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangre. In this way, Kunti Maharani is offering a prayer, my dear Krishna. Your navel has a lotus-like depression, and you are wearing a lotus garland, and your eyes are also like lotus petals, and your feet are also like lotus. So somebody may ask, why Krishna is described with lotus, lotus, everything lotus? Is it because lotus is a national symbol of India? No, because lotus is the most beautiful and most fragrant flower amongst all the flowers. The big flower, it has a tender petals and it is very fragrant and it is a king of all flowers. And when it comes to Supreme Lord, nothing can match our description. It is always superior to what we can describe with our limited words. So there is one verse which says, in the Shruti mantras, one mantra says that Lord is that personality on whom if you put any word, that word will return back. Return back means what? It will not be able to fit the description we gave about Him, so it will come back, it is said. So we are comparing everything to lotus, that's all right. that is at least, it will give us some glimpse of how Lord Krishna looks like a blue lotus. And his face is like the whirl of a blue lotus. So, therefore, Kunti Maharani describes everything in relation to Krishna with lotus, you find. And his speech also can be compared to lotus voices. Because the Lord speaks very purely. He speaks very compassionately. He speaks for the welfare of the whole world. He speaks meaningfully. He speaks very deeply. And he speaks large amount of information in a very short time. And he speaks words which will be immortalized for all time to come. And it could be written in golden letters. Like he spoke the Bhagavad Gita, 700 shlokas, 5,000 years ago. Even today there are people writing commentary. One verse you can write dozens of pages of commentary. So therefore Lord is called as Va-Baduka. Va-Baduka means one whose mastery in speech cannot be estimated. He can speak very gravely, deeply, meaningfully, and sweetly. And he can pack a huge amount of wisdom in various brief words. Truth spoken concisely is called eloquence. So Lord Krishna is called Va-Baduka. Actually, why lotus voice word is used? Because Lord is also called Satyavak. Satyavak means one who always speaks truthfully. He's called as Vividha Adbhuta Bhasha Vit. Means it's one of 64 qualities. He can speak to different people in different language in a way they can understand. To animals, he'll speak in animal language. To birds, he'll speak in bird language. To Vrajabasis, he'll speak in Vrajabhasha. To Devatas, he'll speak in Sanskrit. So he's called Vividha Adbhuta Bhasha Vid. And he's called Satyavak. He's called Priyambada. He can speak very sweetly and convey very profoundly. So, see how many words are glorifying Krishna's speech alone. Priyambada, Satyavak, Vividha Adbhuta Bhasha Vid. So many words. So, and Va-Baduka. All are about Krishna's speech alone. So, anybody who is morose in this world should turn to the Bhagavad Gita, Gandhi says. Because he says when he himself is morose, he turns to Bhagavad Gita and he gets direction in what to do in life. Because the nature of Lord's words is always enlightening and enlivening. And the same is true with the Lord's devotees also. Pure devotees, due to their very close association with the Lord, the pure devotees speak extraordinary sound vibration. Because the word Uttama Shloka means what? Ut means above, Tama means darkness. Uttama means beyond darkness, above darkness. The spiritual world is called Uttama. The material world is called Tama. It's material world. So Uttama Shlok means the choice poetry. That's the English translation for this. What is choice poetry? When Lord is pleased with the pure devotee, the Lord, in the heart of the pure devotee, impels him to glorify the Lord by amazing poetry, which emanates from the mouth of the devotee like streams of poetry. A devotee actually becomes charged by spiritual energy and starts releasing the verse after verse in glorification of the Lord, and they are all coming with full realization. To put it more precisely, we can say Ramananda Rai and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when they were speaking, so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I have come to associate with you and ask you questions. Ramananda Rai said, what can I, who are you talking about? You are a sannyasi, I am a governor of Madras, I am an ordinary man. How can I answer your questions? But Mahaprabhu insisted a lot. And then Ramananda Rai says, my dear Lord, I am like a veena and you are like a veena-dhari. Like the glorification of sweet notes emanating from veena, is it given to the veena or the player of the veena? Because veena may be there, but if you don't know how to play, you will spoil it, isn't it? So he's saying, you are actually a player of veena. I am only a veena. You can make me produce sweet notes if you wish. So in the same manner, he is saying, Shukapat is saying, I am like a parrot. Because parrot can repeat what you teach the parrot. If you tell the parrot, Hare Krishna, you say, Hare Krishna. It will say like that. You've seen that? Yeah. Now somebody may say, how parrot is speaking spiritually? He will repeat what you tell him to repeat. So he says, I am like that only. He says, you are Hridi Preranaya. He says, in my heart you are giving prerana and you are making me speak the verses, whatever I am going to tell you. So I don't know, I don't have any control over my words, he is telling, what I am going to speak now. So that means the pure devotees of the Lord, their speech is completely taken over by Krishna. Huh? Just like an autopiloted plane, is controlled from the control room. The driver of the plane is sitting in the cockpit, but he doesn't control it. So how is it controlled? From the control room. Huh? Now, just like you have seen this drone camera, drone camera, the control is in the flying thing or in the hand of the person who is operating it. Huh? Huh? Hand of the person. He has a button which he presses. Accordingly, the drone flies. So pure devotee is like that. The pure devotee's words emanating from his mouth are actually orchestrated by Krishna. So therefore, instead of Krishna speaking himself directly, sometimes he makes the pure devotee speak. Great realizations, great pure sound vibrations, which can benefit the whole world. Therefore, in the Bhagavatam it is said, Satamayam Sarabritam Nisar, not that one. Shutasya Pumsam Suchirashramasya Nanmanja Sasuribi Iditorta Tattad Gunanam, what is that? Shutasya Pumsam Suchirashramasya Nanmanjasa Suribir Iditorta. Suribi means not only we should study the Katha of the Lord, we should study the Katha of the pure devotee. Not only we should glorify the Lord's quality, we should also glorify the pure devotee's quality. Because pure devotees are a part of Lord's Leela. You will never find any pastime of Krishna where there are no devotees. Find out? The Lord is doing pastime alone with no devotees. It's very difficult to find. They go together always. So, I will tell from the point of view of these three sections of Bhagavatam I told you. Let's take one by one and then we'll come to Dhruva. Let's take the example of this Narada boy. I'm calling Narada boy, actually he was a Dasiputra in the previous life. There are similarities in all the three cases. For example, the Dasiputra, he lost his mother, who was his only shelter. He was living in that lonely village, rustic village, very poor family. And Dasi was alone, single. And for him, mother was everything. And then after he heard from the Bhaktivedantas for 4 months, when they all went away, the boy was very inspired by devotional service. But then when mother passed away, he became practically alone. Now he thought that let me go to the forest and search for Lord Vishnu. So he went to the forest. And in the forest, he took a bath in a lake and drank the water and sat under a tree. It was a serene place, very calm place, and no one around. And the boy was thinking, who is there for me in this world? There is no one. I have no mother, father, brother, sister, family, friend, society, job, business, nothing. I am all alone. Lord Vishnu is my only shelter. So he had become completely free from all upadhis. And there was no disturbance from anywhere for him. And his mind was filled with remembrance of the Bhakti Vedantas, what they spoke about Krishna, Krishna's glories, Krishna's pastimes, Lord's nature. So actually the Lord's qualities, once heard, they enter the mind of a devotee, they will keep on vibrating in the mind of a devotee. Like for example, there is one verse by Gajendra where he says, Madrik prapanna pashupasha vimokshanaya muktaya bhuri karunaya namo layaya swamshena sarvatanu brahmanasi pratita pratyagdrishe bhagavate bhagate namaste. See, in this verse he says, Lord is capable of, Lord is actually muktaya, it is said, is liberated. A liberated person means a person who is not bound by any ropes. And on the other hand, imagine if others are all bound by ropes. So when he looks at them, naturally one may think, hey, I am free and you are all bound. Correct, no? A liberated person may be proud, but he says that he is not proud. Muktaya, bhuri karunaya. Lord is in a higher position, we are all in a lower position. Lord is unbound, we are bound. But when he looks down at us, he feels sympathy for us. Therefore he is called bhuri karunaya. He is extremely merciful to the jivas. And he wants to deliver. Have you seen that picture where Lord Vishnu comes in a Garuda? And one devotee is in the ocean, he is raising the arms and begging the Lord to pick him up. Teshamaham samudharta. I will come to deliver my devotee, the Lord says. So muktaya, bhuri karunaya. Somebody may say, okay, you are very merciful, but you see, You have too many living entities to take care, millions and millions of them. Maybe in the course of taking care of somebody else, you may neglect me. Therefore, he says, Namo Alayaya, he's saying. Namo Alayaya means even for a moment, Lord is not inattentive to the jiva. Therefore, he has expanded himself into as many number of souls. Along with the soul, he is posted in the heart of the jiva as super soul, Antaryami. So he says that Namo Alayaya means he is never inattentive. Somebody may say, okay, you are very attentive. Only thing is, you are very far away. You live in Goloka and I live in Buloka. How will you reach? Maybe it will take time for you. When I cry out for help, he says, no, Swa Amshena Sarvat Anubharan Manasi Pratita. I am not far away. I am right here in your heart. So that means he is merciful. He is also powerful to deliver others also, and is right here next to us. So one has to study these type of qualities of the Lord, that he is Apad Bandava. When we are in danger, he immediately saves the devotee in danger. Like Jadabharata was in danger or not? When they were about to cut his neck, immediately the Lord inspired Kali to protect him. Isn't it? Anatha Rakshaka means like Draupadi. She was about to be disrobed in the public, and Lord understood she's Anath now. Why Anath? Her 5 Nathas could not help her. And even the Kuru elders could not help her. So Lord immediately was there for the devotee. So when this boy was remembering such qualities of the Lord, this boy in the forest, this Dasiputra. On one hand, he had become free from material designations and material ties and attachments. On the other hand, he was remembering Lord's sublime qualities. Then when he sat in meditation, chanting the holy names, immediately Lord Vishnu appeared in front of him. So, whatever description he heard from the Bhaktivedantas, that description matched exactly. Lord's lotus feet was bluish. He saw the ankle belts, he saw the pitambar, he saw the jeweled belt, he saw the Lord's chest with Kaustuba jewel, and Shiva's golden hair marking. He saw the 4 blue arms carrying Shankachakra Gada Padma with all the beautiful ornaments, and the smiling face with kundal and shark-shaped earrings and mukut of the Lord. So, and the love-laden glance of the Lord, when he saw the boy's body trembled and tears sprang up from his eyes for a few moments. And the Lord vanished after giving this darshan. So, the boy was very desperate. Again, he sat in the same posture, closed his eyes and meditated. Actually, he felt like, he got some 20 crore rupees in lottery, and suddenly the money got lost. Like that he felt. Imagine you got a big money in the hand and the packet of the money or something got lost. He felt like that. Again, he sat and tried to meditate, and Lord was not coming. And the boy cried, repeatedly meditated. And then the Lord spoke in a very sweet voice. So that is called the lovely speech in a lonely jungle. So when I gave this heading, big crowd came. They want to know, what is a lovely speech in a lonely jungle? They thought it is some romantic story. Yeah, it is a spiritually romantic story. What did the Lord speak? Hanta asmin janmani bhavan mamam drakshu miharhasi avipakpakashayanam durdarshoham kuyoginam. Lord is saying. He said, my dear boy, Hanta asmin janmani bhavan. In this birth you will not see me again, the Lord said. But you should not give up your practice. Continue doing this practice of chanting, studying scriptures and everything. Throughout your life you do it. At the end of your life, you will become my pure devotee. And next life you will see me constantly. And why am I not giving darshan to you now? 2 things he said. Avipakpakashayanam. Those people who are not fully purified, those people cannot get my darshan, he said. And those who have not done adequate services, they cannot see me also. And then Lord's voice stopped. So it was like a lotus voice. Why? Because Lord has given him a clue on where he needs to improve. So there Srila Vishwanath Thakur has asked a very brilliant question there. Do you think the boy was having an unclean heart, due to which Lord said, I can't give darshan? If that was so, then why did he give darshan in the first place? Already he gave darshan. And the darshan of the Lord shows that the boy was already pure enough. Therefore, Lord gave darshan. Then why he told him that those who have unclean hearts can't see me? Because the Lord wanted to produce humility in the heart of the boy. And also Lord wanted the boy to improve from infant prema to adult prema. Infant prema means komal prem, very tender, like a small sapling. Lord wanted to make his prema mazboot, very strong. Imagine a mango sapling can be uprooted, whereas a stout tree with this much thick stem, you can't even move it 1 millimeter also. So Lord wanted his prema to become strong. So how will our prema become strong? Prema becomes stronger by repeated practice of devotional service and by determined practice, facing all troubles and trials and challenges and difficulties in spiritual life. One becomes more and more mature. And once love for the Lord becomes very pointed and all the unwanted things are washed away in the heart. So Lord wanted him to improve his love by thickening the love. Just like you have, if you take sugar and put it in water and heat it, gradually it becomes viscous. Then it becomes candy, then it becomes rock candy. So Lord wanted to make his love into rock candy love. So therefore Lord told him that avibhakva kashayanam, durdarshoham, fuyoginam, those who have not yet done adequate services, they can't see me, he said. So he had done enough already service under the guidance of the Bhaktivedantas, but Lord wanted him to continue doing. But the boy was so happy having heard the sweet sound of Lord's speech. And there was ringing in his ears repeatedly. And then he went to all the holy places, Haridwar, Rishikesh, Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwaraka. He went to the holy temples, he saw the holy gopurams, he saw the holy chakrams and then offered obeisances. He saw the holy deities and heard the Sthala Puranas associated with saintly people. Studied the scriptures, did a great amount of bhajan, took a dip in all the holy rivers and everything. At the end of the life, when this boy left the body, the next moment he got the body of Narada. Not only that, in that life, Lord called Narada, come here. And Lord personally gifted him a veena also. Deva dattam imam veenam swara brahma vibhushitam. Murchayitva harikatam gayamanas That's what he says later on. He says, Devadatta means Lord gifted me this veena, he's saying. Devadatam imam veenam swara brahma vibhushitam. And this veena I can play and sing Sarigama Padanisa and glorify the Lord. And gayamanas charamyam. I go place to place nowadays. I go sometimes to heaven, sometimes to the spiritual world also I can travel. I am free to travel anywhere I wish now. In this way, how he attained perfection in his life, that small boy is saying. Of course, Narada told Vedavyasa about this. So, what are the similarities in these three people? Take this Dasiputra, take Dhruva, take Prahalad. This Dasiputra faced inevitability in his life. His mother died and left him anath. That's a big slap for any child who is a 5-year-old boy. Is it not true? And for Prahalad, his father tortured him like anything, which you all know. With so much trouble. And similarly, if you take Dhruva, he was also insulted by his stepmother and he got a revengeful attitude and then he got so much courage, he grasped so much courage to come to the forest alone when he was a 5-year-old boy. So this is a similarity. All the three faced some reversal in their life. You find this. Similarly, you find another similarity. All the three had darshan of the Lord. Just now I told you how this Dasiputra got darshan of Vishnu. Is it not true? Actually, darshan of Vishnu was given to him as a glimpse so that by that glimpse he will be inspired to become more serious in devotion life, even more thicker in love. So he got darshan of the Lord. Dhruva also got darshan of Lord and Narsimha especially sprung out of the pillar to give darshan to Prahalad especially. Killing Hiranyakashipu was secondary, Prabhupada says, that's not a big thing. That he can do it through material nature also. But for Prahalad's sake, Lord appeared. That's the meaning of Satyam Vidhatum Nijabritya Pashitam. One of the Britya is Prahalad. To give darshan to Prahalad, Lord came. And also another interesting thing you will find in these three boys, all the three, they are pure devotees. You will see, Dhruva Maharaj, you may say he came with some material desire, but the moment he saw Lord Vishnu, was there any more material desire? He lost his material desire. You will see that by seeing the glimpse of the Lord, darshan of the Lord. So I told you about the Narada boy. Now in the same manner, also all people of the world, and the elephants were putting their tail between their 2 feet and running into bushes out of fear. Yeah, all the animals, birds, humans, everybody was in terror. Whole world was trembling. And that is the time Hiranyakashipu saw Lord Narasimha coming out. He was so huge in size. Eyes were shining like sun and moon. Yeah, and Lord came with a sharp cutting tool like nails. He jumped out of the pillar. And of course, subsequently, you know what happened. And how he killed Hiranyakashipu. And then kept him on his lap in the entrance. And then after finishing Hiranyakashipu, everything, the Lord sat on the throne of Hiranyakashipu. And still he was roaring. The roaring sound was heard. Every time Lord would loudly roar. Even the demigods were trembling. Prabhupada said demigods actually need not be afraid because demigods are not opposed to the Lord's plan. They are all Lord's devotees only. But still they were afraid. Why? See, when we become pure devotees, we have no fear. We become fearless. But if you are semi-devotees, semi-pure devotees, that much fear we will have. Because demons means they want to exploit the world. Pure devotees means they want to serve the Lord. But all in between devatas means they want to serve the Lord and enjoy the world. So as much as we are enjoying prapanchari, that much proportion of fear will be there. Yeah. The fear actually comes from material contact. By spiritual contact, we become fearless. Just like Lord Krishna enters Dwaraka when he comes from Hastinapuram. So that time, Lord Krishna thought that all the Dwarakavasis are waiting for me. Let me give a reminder to them. So he took the shank and he blew that. Immediately all the Dwarakavasis said, hey, familiar sound. This is the sound of the Panchajanya. Who plays Panchajanya? Lord Krishna. Everybody got up from their homes. They came running to greet Krishna. There's a very beautiful description. You will read in the first canto of Bhagavatam. There it is said when Krishna played the shank is what color? No, it was pinkish. Why it was pinkish? Because of the touch of Lord's lips. So Prabhupada says the shank is like a swan, pure devotee. And the Lord's touch in the life of a pure devotee renders the pure devotee pinkish, means pure devotee becomes sanctified by the Lord's touch, by Krishna conscious touch. The life of the pure devotee completely becomes all auspicious. A pure devotee's speech, his character, his walk, his lifestyle, his activities become completely beneficial for the whole world. See how wonderful it is. The Lord actually influences the pure devotees spiritually and sends them out in the world to nook and corner to spread auspiciousness to all the jivas. That is why that verse is there which says, Janasya Krishnat Vimukhasya Daivat Adharmashilasya Sudukkitasya Anugrahayeka Charanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya Anugrahayeka Charanti Nunam. He's saying that Janasya Krishnat Vimukhasya, the jivas who have turned away from the Lord, Janasya Krishnat Vimukasya Daiva Adharmashilasya, they became Adharmashil. If we turn our back to Krishna, we become Adharmashil. And Suddhukitasya, therefore they are all suffering. And opposite of that is, he's saying Anugraha Ihe Charanti Nonam, the pure devotees of the Lord, they show Anugraha to the suffering souls. And Charanti means they move around in this world. So therefore the pure devotees who are carrying Krishna's mercy in their hearts should go and distribute it. Charanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya. So here also the shank is compared to the pure devotees. And the Lord's the splendor of his lips is rendering the whole shank rosy. And Prabhupada says this matter is dead and dark and heavy and fear producing and ignorant, he's saying. Whereas the spirit is bright and light and bliss producing and free from ignorance and full of enlightenment. That is spirit, like that he says. So Lord is Supreme Spirit, and when the Lord touches matter, the matter also becomes purified, just like iron rod put in fire, like that. So therefore when the Lord took the shank and blew it, many things happened, Prabhupada says. One of the things is, everybody got up, those who were sleeping. That means the Lord's call wakes up the sleeping souls. Jiva jago, jiva jago, Gaura Chandra bole, jiva jago, jiva jago, Gaura Chandra bole, Kota nidra java maya, Pisha tira kole, Kota nidra java maya. Bhaje mo bolya aise samsar vitore samsara vitore bhuliya rahile tumi o vidyar bhare bhuliya rahile tumi avidyarabhare kenesi avshadi maya nashi barola gi avshadi maya nashi barola gi Hare Nama Maha Mantra Lo tumi magi Hare Nama Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Meaning of what I sang just now is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in this age of Kali Yuga and tells all the jivas, hey, when you were in the womb of your mother, you said that when you come out, you will worship Krishna. But now you have come out, but you have forgotten your promise. Buliya. Therefore, not to remind you of your duty, I have come here to distribute the medicine which wakes up the sleeping souls. What is that medicine? Harinam Sankirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Prabhupada says a shank blowing by Krishna is also like the Mahamantra. Prabhupada says, chanting what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is distributing. So Lord Krishna was blowing the shank, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was distributing Mahamantra like that. The whole idea is to wake up the sleeping person, to wake up the sleeping soul. If you keep an alarm clock can wake up a sleeping material body. Whereas if you sing the holy name, that can wake up the sleeping spirit soul. And because the Mahamantra is a spiritual sound vibration, it can wake up the sleeping soul. So, when all the Dwarkavasis heard the sound of the shank, immediately they got up. And Prabhupada says, immediately one becomes free from darkness, free from ignorance. And one other thing Prabhupada says, one became free from fear also. Because when light is switched on, there is no more fear. In darkness, you think there may be some snake or some scorpion in the room. When you switch on the light, there is no more fear. They became free from fear. They became free from melancholy also. Melancholy means suffering due to separation from Krishna. So they became free from separation, feelings of separation. They met Krishna eye to eye. They became free from ignorance. They became free from fear. And they became spiritually enlivened. They woke up and they received Krishna. So this is the power of the Shank. In the case of Dhruva, Lord was thinking, yes, I can blow the Shank and create a similar type of auspiciousness here. But the Lord thought, if I do that, who will be glorified? Lord will be glorified. But now the Lord made up his mind, I want to glorify Dhruva. So he touched the Shank to the head of Dhruva. See, if he blows the Shank, it will create auspiciousness and increase Lord's glories. If he touches the Shank to Dhruva's head, sound will come from here. But not just woo sound. What sound will come? Yonta pravishya mamavate mimam prasuptam sanjeevayatta kila shakti daraswadhamnam anyasta hasta charana shravanat pagadin pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. In that verse he says, as soon as Lord touched the Shank, his whole body became electrified. Dhruva's body, spiritually surcharged. His hands, his legs, his whole body was trembling in ecstasy and tears were erupting from his eyes. Hair was standing on end and he spoke streams of poetry. Dhruva spoke. So in this way, Lord empowered Dhruva by touching the transcendental Shank to his forehead, as it is said here. And that is choice poetry. Because why choice poetry or Uttama Shlok? It is empowered by the Lord. Without Lord's empowerment, our Dhruva Maharaj never went to Gurukula. He doesn't know even Akshara Abhyas also is not over. He doesn't know one word in Sanskrit. And Avis is speaking such streams of poetry. This is the meaning of empowerment. Empowerment means Mukam Karoti, Vachalam, Pangam Langayate, Yat Kripa, Tamaham Mande, Shri Gurum Denatarinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. So there is one verse, beautiful verse in CC, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Shri Chaitanya Prabham Mande Yad Balopi Tadanugrahat Nana Taren Matagraha Vyaptam Siddhanta Sagaram. When I heard this verse, I was stunned. Why? This verse says, take a small 6 months old baby and drop the baby in the ocean and you sit back in the seashore. And what you expect the baby? The baby has to swim across the ocean and reach to the other side of the ocean, seashore. Can the child reach? And in that ocean there are man-eating crocodiles and sharks and timingalas. This is the sight that is picturized in this verse. So what is the analogy? I'll tell you. That baby is who? All of us. Yad balo api. We are all like Bala. Bala and what? Our understanding of God, religion, scriptures and all is very meager. We are very small, tender babies. Shastras are oceanic. They are very grave, at the same time very vast also. We can't fathom all of them. And the vast ocean is compared to the different type of false philosophies like Shaddarshan, different people saying different things. Except God, they will talk everything else. Like Charvak and all these people. That is compared to the Siddhanta Sagaram. And the crocodiles and the timingalas and sharks, they are like Sarvabhattacharya, Prakashan Saraswati, that kind of people. All dangerous scholars are waiting. And these are the crocodiles and they are floating in the water because that's what they delight in. Correct, no? And they are ready to eat up the bhaktas who are like small tender babies. But a bhakta can very smoothly swim across the ocean and reach the seashore, which is spiritual world. Is it not a wonderful verse? Amazing, no? And that is possible when Lord empowers the devotee. When one gets even a drop of Lord Chaitanya's mercy, then one can cross over the samsara very easily without any difficulty. A devotee will have full conviction. Like the monkeys went to Lanka. They had nothing to fight with. They just picked up the trees and boulders and threw it at Ravana's army. While Ravana's army had many powerful weapons. They were actually showing some jadoo also. Mayavi things and all. They were actually disappearing in the sky and dropping weapons. Can you imagine skill-wise, who is greater? Ravana's side. And devotion and faith-wise, who is greater? The monkeys. You can see that. They depended on Lord Rama and they were empowered to fight and win like that. So, in this way, Dhruva also was empowered by the Lord to speak Uttama Shloka prayers. Thirdly, Prahalad, I was telling you, in between I switched over to Dwaraka. Now coming back to Prahalad, when they were standing there, all devatas are all standing, trembling. When Lord is roaring and devatas are all trembling, especially Brahma was trembling the most. Why? Because he had only given benediction. Hiranyakashipu. There is one sloka where Lord Narasimha taunts Brahma also. Don't give any benediction beyond your jurisdiction. Lord will tell him later on. So Brahma was a little worried that maybe I gave beyond what I should be giving to Hiranyakashipu. Almost close to Amaratva I gave. So he was very much worried. So therefore, Brahma was telling Lakshmi ji, oh Lakshmi Mata, you are the wife of Narayana, Krishna. So, because a wife is considered half the body of the husband. So why don't you go and pacify Lord Narasimha? So when Lakshmi looked at Narasimha, all her servant maids were preparing her to go. But she was refusing. Sakshat Shri Preshita Devair Drishtva Tam Mahadadbhutam Adrushta Ashruta Purvatvat Na Upeyaya Shankita. It is said. So even Lakshmi herself, when she looked at Narasimha, she said, I have never seen my husband in such an angry mood. Very ferocious form. Even she was afraid. Now Upeyaya. She said, no, sorry, I cannot go. She said. So Prabhupada writes there, the hero in that scene is who? Prahlad. So she wanted to glorify Prahlad. So Leela Shakti inspired her to not go. Otherwise, imagine if Lakshmiji went and sat in the lap of Narasimha and said, keep quiet, enough of your anger. A wife can easily pacify a husband. She could have done that, then Prahlad wouldn't be glorified. So Mother Lakshmi purposefully detained herself. She was refusing to go. Then Brahma looked at Prahlad and said, hey Prahlad, it's for you that Lord has appeared. Here, he has come to shower his love on you. Lord is definitely not upset with you. He's upset with Hiranyakashipu. You please go ahead and you praise the Lord. So Prahlad was given the garland to put on the Lord's neck. And Prahlad Maharaj climbed up the steps. And when he went and stood in front of the Lord, offering obeisances to him, garlanding him. So as soon as he touched the Lord's lotus feet, immediately Narasimha erupted in ecstasy. Devotee is in ecstasy and Lord is also in ecstasy. I told you that verse in the previous class, you remember? Swapada moolam patitam tamarbakam vilokya deva kripaya pariplutah uttapya tat shirshni adadat karambujam kalarhi vitrastadhiyam kritabhayam. He's saying, Swapada moolam patitam arbakam. The small kid, the small boy, he is falling at the feet of Lord Narasimha and touching his feet. Lord felt immediately. Prabhupada says, even we people also, if a small kid comes and falls at your feet and touches your feet, you immediately become ecstatic. You lift the baby and you shower affection upon the child. Is it not true? You want to give some gift to the child. Anybody will feel touched when a small 3-year-old or 4-year-old comes and falls at your feet. Children by nature are very tender and very sweet and loved by everybody. And here is Prahlad. Lord loved him not only because he is a tender child, because he has performed staunch devotional service. Satatam kirtayanto maam yatantascha. Lord appreciated his Dridhavrata. Determined devotional service, steady devotional service, consistent devotional service. And never was Prahlad budging 1 inch from his determination to serve. The Lord lifted him up. Uttapya, he says. Tat shirshni, on his head, Lord kept his hands. When Lord touched the head of Prahlad, any kind of misgivings that might have been there in Prahlad due to the birth, because some amount of impurities come due to prarabdha karma. Prahlad was thinking that I am born in a Ugra Jati, in a Rakshasi family. So that whatever he thought he was impure, he was not impure. He imagined himself to be impure. But Lord purified it. He cleansed him completely. And Divya Jnana, Hriday Prakashito, the Divya Jnana awakened in his heart. And tears were streaming from his eyes. At that time, Prahlad was told to offer the prayer. Just see what kind of prayer he is offering. Brahmadaya suragana munayo tasiddha satvaikatana matayo vachasam pravahai naraditum purgunai radhunapi pipruhu kim toshtumarhati samer harirugrajate. He's comparing Devatas and Asuras. He's telling the Devatas are all followers of God. We Asuras are all opposed to God. In the Devatas, they are all filled with Sattva Guna. We are filled with Rajoguna and Tamaguna. And And the Devatas can sing streams of poetry, Sanskrit poetry, they are all learned. Vibhuta Rishabha is saying. And what about Asuras? We cannot cogently speak one sentence in glorification of the Lord because we are always envious. We are demoniac. I am born in such a family. I am Ugra Jati and they are all Uncha Jati, more high birth. Where am I? Where are they? So he, after glorifying them, he is telling, nevertheless, I have been sent by Brahma to glorify you. Therefore, I am standing in front of you. Unqualified fool. But on the order of Brahma, I have come, but I am feeling very hesitant. He's telling. So in one another verse, I think it is 7.9.12, I think. Tasmadaham vigata viklava ishwarasya, like that he will say. Vigata viklava means Prahlad was in two minds. Should I glorify the Lord or take a humble position and go behind and tell Brahma, no, you only glorify. Sometimes you feel hesitation, isn't it? Like once I was in Govardhaneko village, there was a big car in which my spiritual master was sitting in the front. So, and I was also sitting in the behind seat, and there was one more seat empty. So there was one young devotee who actually was eager to come near Maharaj and talk during the time when Maharaj was in, my spiritual master was in GV. He would come near, when senior devotee would pulling, he would go behind out of shyness because he thought I am too young to be standing in the front, but he wanted to hear what Maharaj is speaking. So when he came to know that there is a seat, rear seat available, he can also sit. But he was in two minds. Should I sit or not sit? To go to Chowpatty temple. He thought that there are many other senior devotees behind me, they may want to sit. Correct? No? So he was hesitant. So, but the other devotee who was with me was calling him, hey, if you want, come. There is an empty place, there's place here, you can come. And he knows very well, while going in the car, Maharaj will speak many things. He can get to hear. He had eagerness to hear on one hand. On the other hand, fear to occupy the place which may be otherwise occupied by some senior devotee. So it was two minds. But finally nobody occupied. So the door was closed. After the car left, after half an hour he was crying. He made a call to the devotee, Prabhuji, can I join? He was asking, Prabhuji said, already we are half an hour away. So in this way, he lost the opportunity to associate with Maharaj very intimately, although he loved him very much. So that is what Prahlad did not want to do. Prahlad said, opportunity has come, tapping my door to glorify Lord, who is right in front of me. And by glorifying him, in the third canto also there is a verse, and 7th canto, 9th chapter also there is a verse. Both verses say, if you glorify the Lord, you will get out of the cycle of birth and death, and you will eternally live in His presence. And you will eternally associate with Him in His pastimes, Nitya Leela. So that's what Prahlad thought of the prospect. By getting a chance to glorify Him, I will better take advantage. Tasmad vigata viklava, he says, I will give up my artificial humility. And I will surrender to Brahma's instruction. And I will glorify Him. And almost 40-45 verses he is glorifying. In the 7th canto, 9th chapter, you will see Prahlad's glorification. Amazing glorification. And Lord was also completely touched and pleased. And they are also called as Uttama Shlok. Choice, poetry. Because they are all empowered by whom? Because Lord touched him, no? Lord touched his head. And then He empowered him, purified him. And then he could speak such poetry. He is also again a small boy. Prahlad also, correct, no? 5-year-old boy. And he's speaking such amazing poetry. Dhruva Maharaj is speaking amazing poetry. Dasiputra is speaking amazing poetry. These are all in lotus voices coming from lovely hearts. The Lord speaks or the pure devotee speaks, it is all glorious and all auspicious for the whole world. Therefore, when we glorify Prabhupada every day, we say, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Arana Koriho Mane Asha. So let me make the instructions of the pure devotee one with my heart, and let my mind not wander here and there looking for something else in this world. Because the words emanating from a pure devotee's mouth are actually inspired by Krishna. They are completely transcendental. Therefore, Prabhupada said, all my books are not written by me, they are written by Krishna. Because Krishna inspired Uttama Shlok to come out of Prabhupada's mouth. Therefore, there are such powerful sentences in Prabhupada's purports you will find, sense gratification and Krishna consciousness go ill together. Another place Prabhupada says, to cut off the tie of material attachment means to broaden the field of spiritual activities. There are hundreds of such sentences in Prabhupada, thousands of them. Such amazing, because these are all invested by Krishna in the heart of pure devotee. So, in today's verse, we are reading about how Dhruva Maharaj became perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion, and he could glorify the Lord with such amazing verses. Not only that, Dhruva Maharaj became purified of all the anarthas in his heart, especially the desire for domination. He became freed from that, and now he had no more desire for acquiring a big kingdom, because he felt attaining Lord Vishnu's lotus feet is the highest thing. Like we say in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, what is that? Sukam matyantikam yat tad buddhigrahyam atindriyam veti yat rana chaivayam stitas chalati tatvatah yam labdva chaparam labam manyate na adhikam tatah manyate na adhikam tatah. There is nothing more to be achieved. When one sees Krishna's lotus feet, yam labdva chaparam labam means if some other benefit, manyate na adhikam tatah. It cannot be greater than this one. A devotee can experience timelessness. Time stops to exist, because generally in this world people aspire for a career or a big money or a beautiful wife or a big bungalow or a big car or obedient children or loving parents or vast estates, or a very successful roaring business enterprise or popularity in the world, popularity amongst the people of the world. The people aspire for these things. But when one has seen Krishna eye to eye and obtained his darshan of his lotus feet, everything stops. All the things of the material world go to the background, far, far away. And Lord becomes the Vastava Vastu, becomes all important for the devotee. Then remembering the Lord's form, remembering his words, remembering his pastimes, his activities, this becomes most relishable thing for the devotee. So therefore he said, Kacham Vichinnan Api Divyaratnam Swamin Kritartho Asmi. I am completely satisfied, he said. Dhruva Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, और भक्त वृंद की जय. Thank you very much.